Alright guys, welcome back. Today we're out here messing with this car. If you watch my last video, you know I bought some goodies for it. We have some QA1 coilovers for the front. I've already measured the ride height. This car's always set a little wonky. It's kind of sits higher on one side. So it's a little whopper job. So it's 26 3/4 on this side and like 27 1/8 on the passenger side. So one of the reasons I wanted coilovers for this car was to be able to adjust ride height. I really probably don't need coilovers on this car. It's just kind of a want. And I think when I put the tubular control arms on it, they have poly bushings, so I'm getting some vibration in the springs that makes a little racket. And I didn't put isolators on the springs when I put the car together, so that was kind of my fault. So this is going to be like a twofold thing. The reason I'm doing this, hopefully to eliminate some of the noise and for ride height adjustability. Eventually I will put coilovers on the back also, that way I can have four corner adjustment as far as ride height. But we're just doing a little bit at a time. These are, I think, 450-pound springs, which everything I read kind of fit for what I have on this car, being an LS and all that. So we'll see. This is my first attempt at doing coilovers. I've never messed with coilovers before, so this will be a learning experience for all of us. So hopefully it goes pretty smooth. Nothing ever goes smooth in this shop, y'all know that, right? If you've been watching the news, you know the government is shut down. Me and my wife both work for a contractor for a government entity, so we are furloughed at the moment. So do me a favor and please subscribe, like, share, comment, do all those things. Tell all your friends. I could really use it. I appreciate it. And let's get started on this thing. Alright, so first things first, we gotta get this apart. I did go ahead and get the shocks out of it. These are relatively new Bilsteins, or however you say it. So we will repurpose them onto the red car. I had these I was going to use, but they're quite a bit older than those. Those are, like I said, not very old at all. And this car has brand new Bilsteins on the back, so it'll have a matching set. So I think what I'm going to do, I need to get the brake caliper off, get the tire rod undone, the sway bar undone, knock one of the ball joints loose, let that down, and get the spring and everything out of the way. Hopefully this all goes pretty smooth. You have seen me struggle doing this stuff, you know, with springs and stuff in the past, so this probably will be no different. Alright, so hopefully I got y'all set up where y'all can see what's going on. Damn it. That thing didn't want to come out. Get the caliper off. And I think I'm just going to take the top ball joint loose and let this kind of hang out. Hopefully that'll give us enough room. We shall see. And like I said, I probably don't necessarily need coilovers on this car. It may be a little overkill, and it's probably more money than what the car's worth, but I do a lot of things that don't make sense. But I am hoping that I can adjust with the ride height adjustment and the handling adjustment, hopefully it'll help it out a lot. But mostly just to get rid of some of the noise. Dang, these bolts are long-winded. Something to hang that with. I'm sure most people that watch my stuff already know this, but don't let your caliper hang by the hose. Not good for it. Alright, I'll do the unhook the sway bar next. God dang it. Hell. Finally. Shoot, that's hot. Try to keep all this stuff together. Ooh, it's still hot. See if we can knock this ball loose. There we go. getting sick of doing front end work. All right, let's see if we can get the spring out without taking the head off now. I don't know if you can hear that popping noise that spring is making right now. That's what it does, like going down the road. It makes that weird spring noise. Well, it's like it's got some pressure on it still. I think that's as low as it can go, though. There we go. Yeah, you can see where like all the paint's been knocked off of it, where it's riding inside here. Crazy. Alright, so this side is all apart, so we'll start assembling this thing and hopefully get it back up in there real quick. Alright, so we're going to try to get this shock assembled and get it ready to put in. Like I said, this is my first time dealing with coilovers, so first thing it said to do was to turn the adjustment knob to the lowest setting so the shock would extend easier, which I've done that already. And then you have your spring perch and then the lock nut. The lock nut goes on first, and I don't know if you can see, but it has a little raised bevel on this side, but not on the other side. That raised bevel, it says to go to the top, so we're going to screw this on. And I know it says to use anti-seize, and I will put that on in a moment. I'm not doing it yet, but I'm going to screw it down all the way to the bottom. Same thing with the perch, or whatever, you know, there's probably a better term than perch, but that's what I'm calling it. All right, so that's on there. And so I'm gonna set this down for just a second. I'm gonna do something, I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but I do have another pair of these isolators for the spring. I'm gonna put them on. I'm sure this will affect my ride height, but I you know, again, one of the main reasons I'm doing this is to stop some noise. So I'm trying to do everything I can to eliminate noise. So that's why we're doing this. People are probably, you know, professionals that know a lot about coilovers may be looking at this and thinking, oh my God, what is this fool doing? But that's what I'm doing, because I am sick of these weird ass noises that I'm getting out of this car. So I went ahead and bought the thrush washers, the little kit for those. So you put, this will go down on the shock, and then you put the thrush washer and then another plate like that. It's supposed to make the spring, like, make it easier when you're adjusting your ride height. So we got that. We will use those. And I did buy the tools to adjust it. So, and the shocks did come with one of these. If you don't have the thrush surface, or I mean the thrush washers, you just put this on there, and you're supposed to put anti-seize on it and all that. So, but I'm going to put the anti-seize on after I get all this in there, and then, you know, kind of smear it around. I just didn't want to get that stuff all over everything before I got started, but I want to test this and make sure that's going to fit up in the frame. I did use these on the red car, and it was kind of tight, but and it says that there's a notch. I know, like on the lower control arms, there's a notch, like because the spring, the main spring, is not made on the bottom like these are. But it says there's one up in the frame too, where it kind of sits, is supposed to sit in there. But I have felt up in there and I can't feel it. So I'm gonna take a quick second and check that. All right, so I checked, it does fit up in there. I didn't feel a notch for where this is supposed to, it's just smooth up in there, so I don't think it really matters. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little anti-seize on this and run these up a little bit and kind of, you know, get it worked into the threads. Of course, I know I'm gonna make a mess with this crap. I'm gonna have this thing all over everything. That's why I have the gloves on. So I'm just gonna kind of smear it around a little bit, and then it doesn't feel like I got near enough on there, so we'll put a little more on it. When I went to get the anti-seize, I tried to get like a big tube, like a jug of it, and all I had was these little tubes, but I think it's going to be more than enough, so I don't really want to get this stuff all over everything, but oh yeah, getting it everywhere. A little bit more. I don't know how much you're supposed to use, what, you know, what is considered a lot or excessive or not enough. I'm just kind of winging it, and I'm making a damn mess for sure. I think that should be plenty. Run that down. So I'm gonna run these down all the way to the bottom, and then that way I can hopefully count my turns when I'm adjusting the height or whatever. I don't want to like bottom it up completely out and mess the threads up, but okay. Oh, I'm dropping stuff everywhere. Alright, so it says to put anti-seize where these ride also. So we'll do that too. I'm trying not to get excessive with it, but now, one other thing I'm going to do that I don't know if you're supposed to do, it doesn't say in anything I've read or watched, but I'm going to grease these little thrust bearings. Just a little. I'm not gonna, you know, put a lot on there, but it just seems like it should have some, I mean, something on it, right? I don't want to use anti-seize on it, but I'm not gonna get super carried away with it, just a little bit. I think I got Just a little, I'm not getting a lot on there. So. Again, I don't really know what the hell I'm doing. I don't know if you're supposed to do that or what, but I don't think it's going to hurt anything, right? And then I guess I need to put a little anti-seize on the top one also, where the spring rides. Okay, now that I have thoroughly made a mess, you know what, I'm just taking these off and starting over. Okay, so I think we're ready to try to put it in, maybe. We'll get everything ready, and then I'll reposition the camera where y'all can see what I'm doing, and hopefully this goes pretty smooth. Alright, we're going to see if we can get this set up in there. I'm going to put the adjustment knob towards the outside. So we're going to put the spring on. Alright, I think I got 1 or 2 threads started, so see if I can tighten it a little bit. Make sure my spring is seated. It feels like it is. I'm just going to try to snug it up for right now just to hold everything in place. Try to give me a little wiggle room to try to line everything up when I start picking the control arm up. But it's in there. Start going up with it. Trying to position the jack where it's not right in the way of mounting the bolts for the shock, but it doesn't look like I'm gonna have any luck with that. Oh shit. I'm about to mess up.
This has probably been a whole lot easier without the steering knuckle on it, but too late. Whoa. Try not to break that knob. That would suck. Be a lot better if I could see. Come on. Get in there. The bolt is too big for the hole. Yep. Let me get the bolts that I used from the other shocks. I'll tell you what though, as easy as coilovers are to install compared to regular springs, this may be my new go-to. Oh, all right. Oh, careful. All right, just a little bit more. Lower control arm, or upper control arm, I mean, bolted on.
definitely going to sit low at that setting, so go ahead and I think I'll let the jack down and we'll try to adjust the height a little bit. See if I'm able to even get in here to it. I'm sure there's a formula, like some measurements you can make that'll tell you, but we're just kind of winging it right now. I'll kind of get eyeball kind of where I think it needs to be, then I'll measure how high up it is, and then when I do the other side, we'll try to set them both close. Alright, that's kind of good enough, I think, for right now. I'll finish tightening everything down and getting everything buttoned up, and then we will kind of see where we're at from there. All right, well, that wasn't too bad. I've got everything tightened down, all the cotter pins back in, got the brakes back on, sway bar. I've got everything tight except for the jam nut on the bottom of the spring, because I'm sure we're going to have to adjust it some once I get the other side done. What I did was just measured the rotor from the floor and tried to match it to the one on the other side just for now. We'll try to get a little more accurate once we get both sides done. But I'm going to go ahead and set the knob on the shock. The instructions say, I'm actually going to read the instructions. For drag racing, 0 to 6 clicks, which that's from the lowest setting, so we don't want that. And then other applications, 2 to 8 clicks for a nice ride and handling, 8 to 12 for a firm ride and improved handling, and 13 plus for more aggressive handling. So I think I'm going to go 8 clicks. So that's the high end of the nice ride and handling, and low end for a firmer ride. We're going to start there. So maybe you can hear it. Get in there to it now that I got everything in the way. Well, it's got a slot for a screwdriver. Let's try that so it'll be a little easier to do. I've had this toolbox for 100 years and I still open the wrong drawer every time. Okay. Well, of course, I ain't gonna be able to get the screwdriver in there. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, maybe. 4, 5, 6, 7,
8.
So that's where we're gonna start. And you know, the good thing about it is after you drive it, if you don't like it, you just reach in there and, you know, readjust it. But from reading the instructions, I figured 8 was a good starting point. So this side is done. I'm gonna go ahead and get the other, ooh, I'm about to drop my camera. I'm gonna go ahead and get the other side knocked out. I won't make you watch me do that since you watched me do this side. Hopefully it goes as smoothly, and then once we get it all back together, we'll come back and try to get, you know, the ride height and everything set and see how it does and go for a ride in it and see how it handles and how it does. Hopefully really good, because this was a lot of money. So all right, stay tuned. All right, let's see how close we got on the ride height. Oh, that is too low for sure. That is way too low. It's so low that the jack will not come out from underneath the car. Let's see how bad low we are here. We were at 27 1/4 or 3/4. So we are a little under 26. So yeah, way too low. Like seriously, it is probably lower than that, but the jack bottom, the cross member is bottomed out on the jack, and the jack is as low as it'll go. So we're gonna jack it back up and try to get that up a little higher. All right, well that's much better. It took several attempts of adjusting this to get it kind of how I wanted. When I started out, before we did all this, the driver's side was 26 3/4 inches from the wheel opening to the floor. The passenger side was 27 1/8. I have both sides now set at 27 1/2. Because I did want to raise it up just a tad. I've rolled it back and forth a little bit trying to get it to settle. I'm sure once we drive it, it'll settle a little more. What I wound up having to do, my initial setting when I put the coilovers in, I measured from the bottom of the threads to the bottom of the spring. It was like 2 inches. So now this side is at 3 1/2 inches and that side is at 3 1/4. So that's how I kind of equaled it out. Because like I said, this car is always set kind of cattywampus. It always set a little lower on this side, which some of that may be from the back too. So hopefully one of these days, if we get the rear coilovers on it, we can really get it set like we want it. But I did want to raise it a tad, and I may eventually raise it a little more because it does rub on this side. Like when you're backing up and turning, it rubs the inner fender. I'm going to try to, I did just kind of roll it back and forth just by hand. I'm going to start it up and kind of turn the wheel and everything. And oh, you raggedy, son of a, ooh, she's going to make me cuss at y'all. Oh, I can't believe you'd embarrass me like this on camera. So I've been having issues with my battery. I guess it's just junk because it ain't been that long since I drove it. Just a few days actually. So well, that stinks. I was gonna go drive it. Let me see if I wonder, oh yeah, I've got my jump box charged up, so let me see if I can get this battery jumped off and get it started, and we'll go drive it down the road and see how it runs, or not runs, how it rides. All right, let's take this thing down the road and see how it does. Already seems like, well, the little springy noise is gone, but I think some of my other noises are like all the front end sheet metal is like rattling around, but I think after we drive it, we'll kind of measure it again and see where the ride height is. It's kind of hard to tell too as far as settings on the shocks on this rough ass road that I live on, you know what I mean? Like, it's like a pea graveled rough ass, got knots and bumps. So far it seems like it rides pretty good. But that did get rid of a lot of my noise. Like I said, I think the rest of it now is just sheet metal rattling. But like before, if you were sitting like at a stoplight, like it just made this god awful racket. But I think it was those springs vibrating inside the spring pocket. That's what I think it was. Our son Austin, he was helping me one day, and I was sitting in the shop with it, getting it to do it, and he got under there and said, "Man, you need to come feel the spring," and like you could just feel it, like you put your hand on it, and it was just like in there. It was wild, like, you know. And I'm sure you've seen those springs when I took them out. They're big, tall, like they were under a lot of pressure, but they were still rattling around in there. But it's definitely a lot better. So the cost of the coilovers was almost worth it just for that, just to get rid of that crap. And it does seem to ride pretty decent. I'm not really going to hang it out too much on this rough ass damn road, but we'll get it out sometime and kind of put it through its paces. But yeah, it like, this thing handles. Of course, this car's always handled decent, you know. So far, I'm happy. But yeah, that definitely eliminated a lot of my noise. The rest of it, I know, like the front balance is rattling. It like is hitting stuff it shouldn't be hitting, and I know where it meets one of the fenders, like it kind of broke out, so it's probably rattling. But you can probably hear it on camera, some of that banging around. But like right now I'm sitting in drive with my foot on the brake, and I mean you can feel the car shaking, but it's not making that terrible noise it was making before. Yeah, I'm okay with it. I do love this car, even when she makes me mad. But I think so far I'm happy with the settings I have the shocks at. We may play with it a little bit, like I said, once we get out and really drive it and have some fun with it. But it does ride a lot better too. But like I say, it rode pretty decent before, but yeah, it's night and day difference. So, you know, I always, you know, worry like when I spend quite a bit of money on this thing trying to make it better. You know, I've spent a lot of money over the years that didn't really benefit me, and that's kind of aggravating. And then I spent this money right before the shutdown, like they shut the government down. Which, if I knew that was going to happen, I wouldn't have done it. But hopefully they'll get that all solved. But anyway, what I was getting at is, so far I'm happy with the money that I spent on these. It's definitely a pretty big improvement. It definitely rides way better. So yeah, QA1 for the win. There were some cheaper options out there, and like I have, like the control arms that I have on this car, they're tubular control arms, but they're not QA1. I did go with a little bit cheaper brand, just because at the time that's just all I could afford. But when it came to buying the coilovers, though, I this thing back to the shop, and we will check the ride height again now that we've kind of drove it. And, you know, hopefully if it's settled any, it's settled all it's going to. I really don't want to have to adjust on them anymore. That's rough on an old man. But anyway, we'll get it back in the shop and check it out. All right, now that we drove it, let's kind of see where we're at. I think I said before we were at 27.5. So now we're at 27 and just over a quarter. So it did kind of sag a little bit, not much, 1/4 of an inch maybe not even quite. This side is still 27.5. So I mean, it's close still, but I guess maybe I need to go up a couple of ticks on this side, but I'm not gonna worry about it right now. It is close enough. But yeah, QA1 for the win. I'm very happy with it. It rides so much better. Some of my noise has gone away. The noise I was really concerned about has gone away. The rest of it is just, you know, like all that stuff down there. But anyway, I think the only thing left to do now is figure out where I'm gonna put my QA1 sticker and put it there or back here. I do have a lot of stickers on this car. I'm usually not a big fan of stickers all over a car, but like, you got to put the power tour stickers on it. I mean, that's just, you just got to. And then this was from where we put it on the road course at the Corvette Museum, so we got to put that one on there. And then my Ratty Goat Garage one. And these two, I think it was in 2024 on Power Tour. Back and forth with some people on the Facebook page for Power Tour. We had agreed we were going to swap out stickers, and I didn't get to meet up with everybody that I talked to, but Auto Alley, I got to swap stickers with her. She has one on her car of mine, so I put hers on my car. I also have Flat Out Autos. They are fellow Arkansans, and they do some really cool stuff with new Chevrolet and GMC trucks. They build like old school full-size Blazers out of them, and it's really neat. And then the car that they took on Power Tour was like a little, I don't even know what you call it, but it's basically just a tube chassis, little go-kart looking thing with a LS motor. Like open air, like no, like, yeah, that was hardcore, I thought. So go check them out and, you know, give them a like and a follow. They like I said, they do some really cool stuff. Anyway, the reason I'm getting at that is because I did try to do a sticker thing, and I would still like to do that again. So if you have an automotive YouTube channel and you've got stickers and you want to swap with me, reach out to me and I'll send you one of mine. You send me one of yours, and I'll eventually start putting them, if I get enough, on my wall or on my door here where I have my sticker. I'm going to put, like I said, the Flat Out Autos. I do have a couple of others. When I was on Power Tour, I met one of my favorite YouTubers, DD Speed Shop. So I bought a sticker from him. It'll go up there. I've got the Hot Rod Garage. I met Lucky and Alex on Power Tour also, which was awesome. I met Derek from Vice Grip also, but I didn't get any. We just met him on the road, so I didn't get a sticker or anything. And then at the car show last weekend, this kid we swapped stickers. It's Polk County Diecast Racing. So that was the kid that was selling Hot Wheels. So that'll go up there. All those will go up there. So anyway, if anybody's interested or wants any of my stickers, we'll work something out. I'll just send you mine, you send me yours, or whatever. And we'll start promoting each other. But I think that's kind of where I'm going to end this video for now. Like I said, I am 100% happy with the QA1 shocks. Now, I really want to get the ones for the back. So, who knows when that'll happen. But anyway, again, thanks everybody for watching. Please give me a subscribe, like, share, comment, tell your buddies. Any little thing like that helps. And I would greatly appreciate it. So until the next time, I'll see y'all hopefully pretty soon. We'll be back on that red hunk of crap over there. See you next time.